Good afternoon, and welcome to our 2022 Anti-Hunger Day. My name is Bailey Perkins Wright, State Advocacy and Public Policy Director for Oklahoma Food Banks. Although our format is different this year than in years past, our focus remains the same as if we were at the state capitol, to bring all hunger fighters together and elevate solutions on food security to our state lawmakers. This year's event will center ways the legislature can invest in food security.
Bailey, thank you so much. It's great to be here. My name is Greg Hawks. I am a partner, friend, advocate with the regional food banks and all of the food banks in our state. And what an exciting day we have here. We've got some incredible lawmakers, we've got some advocates, and what we're gonna do over the course of this next hour is we're gonna gain insight into the landscape of the current efforts in fighting food insecurities. We're gonna hear from key people who are around the state doing significant work. And then we're going to get to jump into breakout rooms where the people here can ask our legislators questions. How great is that?
Amazing.
It's amazing. And so listen, we want you to jump in with both feet as you participate today. We're going to hear from some key people. Then we're going to jump into those breakout sessions where you're going to have moderators and legislators that you can interact with directly to give you everything you need to continue the fight for those that are food insecure in our state. So Bailey, you ready to get started?
I am ready to get started. Let's do
Me too. You know who we have up first? One of my favorite humans in the world.
Yes.
Yeah. Stacy Dykstra is the CEO of the Regional Food Bank of Oklahoma. And Bailey, you don't know this, but she's a pretty good dancer too.
Yeah. Did not know.
You did not know that, but I do know that she has some dance moves. So we are so excited to have Stacy here with us. Stacy, tell us some things that are happening in your world.
Thank you, Greg, and fellow dance partner. Back at you for that good dancing techniques. The Regional Food Bank is committed always to achieving our vision of an Oklahoma where no one goes hungry. We provide emergency food assistance to 53 counties in central and western Oklahoma, and we serve Oklahomans in need of food assistance thanks to our more than 1,300 partner pantries and agencies in our service area. Hunger is real in our state. According to the USDA, we rank 4th in food insecurity across the nation. That means too many of our neighbors face chronic hunger and do not receive the nutrition they need to live productive lives. It also, or thankfully, that also means that they don't receive the nutrition that they need. And it is so important that everyone not only has access to food, but that it's nutritional food. Thanks to the hard work of our Oklahoma food banks, we have been fighting hunger for over 40 years. But sadly, that progress has been cut short because of our commitment and hunger has been so negatively impacted by the pandemic. We do remain determined, and over the past 2 years, continue serving as we always do. We stepped up to the front lines. We innovated and we adapted to serve Oklahomans safely and efficiently. Innovation used during the pandemic has given us ideas of how we can better feed the line and shorten it. The legislature has $1.87 billion, that's billion with a B, in American Rescue Plan Act, or we call ARPA funds, and millions more flowing through our county and city governments. As leaders search for the best ways to use pandemic relief funds, the Oklahoma Food Bank stand ready with proven strategies that will help more Oklahomans facing hard times transition into careers that hit hardest by the pandemic and expanding our job training capabilities. We'll improve access to nutritious foods by growing the Food and Resource Center model. It provides client choice food selection and wraparound resources that help Oklahomans get back on their feet. And collaborate with partners throughout our 53 county service area to address the issues that create hunger. We hope you will encourage lawmakers to make food security a priority of pandemic relief funding. Thank you, hunger fighters in the audience. We could not do our work without you. I'm now going to pass it to Calvin Moore, our new friend and partner in this work to end hunger. He is the President and Chief Executive Officer of the Community Food Bank of Eastern Oklahoma.
Thank you, Stacy. I haven't seen you dance, but you are definitely still one of my favorite persons in the world. I really appreciate all that you're doing. Community Food Bank of Eastern Oklahoma continues to push toward food security with dignity for all Eastern Oklahomans. For more than 40 years, we've not only provided emergency food assistance to 24 counties in the eastern part of our state, but we've stepped up in times of need, like the Tulsa Kitchens Unite project, in partnership with Hunger Free Oklahoma and local restaurants hit hardest by the pandemic. That partnership served more than 30,000 meals to Oklahomans in need and provided meals to Afghan refugees who are getting on their feet in our state. You know what? An avalanche of crises kept an avalanche of crises from hitting our state during the pandemic. It was investments in effective interventions like the child tax credit and critical program waivers to feed children safely and easily. Boosts to the SNAP program and extensions of PEBT, payments to help workers in between jobs pay their rent and other basic needs. Investments like CARES and ARPA that allowed cities and states to address urgent needs in targeted ways will be benefits for generations to come. We alone in the charitable sector can't fight hunger by ourselves. It takes all of us, public and private partnerships, to become the Oklahoma that I know we can be. A strong state budget is essential to the fight against hunger. With the influx of federal funds to our state, the legislature and our local communities have a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to make historic investments. We can't waste a moment on cutting revenue when so much need still exists in our communities. Let's use this critical time to maximize our resources. Our more than 800 partners see the challenges Oklahomans face every single day. So let's turn our quote unquote what ifs on addressing hunger and its root causes to quote unquote here's how by adequately funding core services and interventions proven to move the needle toward food security. I know we can do this. And for those tuning in today, I urge you to help us inspire the legislature to use every single dollar possible to fund our state's current needs and invest in our future. I'll now introduce one of our strongest partners and my good friend in the fight against hunger, Chris Bernard, Executive Director of Hunger Free Oklahoma. Chris?
Thank you, Calvin. Want to echo Stacy's welcome to your new position. I'm really excited to see what the food bank does under your leadership. And also, just you undersold our partnership. You didn't give yourself enough credit. So it was 30,000 a week. We did almost 400,000 meals with Tulsa Kitchens Unite, and we couldn't have done it without the food bank. It was an amazing program and a lot of fun. So Hunger Free Oklahoma is really proud to work alongside both Oklahoma food banks in the fight against hunger. We work to leverage the power of collaboration to solve hunger in Oklahoma by improving systems, policies, and practices. We strive to bring a unified statewide voice to the issues and solutions surrounding hunger, with the goal to ensure all Oklahomans have access to affordable, nutritious food. Our state has some of the poorest health outcomes in the nation. We rank 46th overall in that category, 49th in fruit and vegetable consumption, and 47th in household food security. That's unacceptable. But the good news is we know how to address the issues. We have existing solutions that can improve health and healthy food access in our state, like Double Up Oklahoma. If folks could mute their mics, please, that would be helpful.
We don't want my board, baby.
Hunger Free Oklahoma, the food banks, and other partners want to increase food security and nutrition security across the state. We want to make healthy eating the easy and affordable choice for more Oklahomans, but it takes investment to make that happen. Expanding the Double Up Oklahoma, or DUO program, as we call it, is a practical, affordable, and economically beneficial solution that moves the needle on food security and nutrition security in our state. The DUO program leverages the largest and most efficient and most effective food program in our state and the nation, SNAP. It leverages SNAP by offering a one-to-one match, dollar for dollar, up to $20 per day in SNAP purchases that can only go towards fresh fruits and vegetables. In addition to helping Oklahomans access healthy foods, it serves as an economic multiplier. For every dollar spent in Duo, it creates up to $2.90 in economic stimulus in our local communities. It increases produce purchases by SNAP participants on an average of 270% in our participating Duo stores. It increases the variety and freshness of produce for entire communities as those products circulate more and more in the stores. It creates jobs, and it helps keep the lifeblood of our rural communities, the grocery store, open and operating. And increasing consumption, we know, prevents cardiovascular disease. It increases or decreases diabetes and prevents it, and other very expensive negative health-related outcomes when we increase fruit and vegetable consumption. So put simply, Duo at Scale is a transformative program. It impacts our state health, our food security, and the local economies in our lower income areas. We've conducted polling that shows that when the public's informed that incentivizing fruit and vegetable consumption among low income families has been shown to reduce diabetes and cardiovascular disease and decrease health costs for taxpayers, that 88% of Oklahomans support the state paying for additional incentives for SNAP users to purchase nutritious food. 87% of Republicans support it, 94% of Democrats, and 87% of rural Oklahomans. Put simply, it's something that nearly all of us can agree on, which is rare these days. Double Up Oklahoma is an important piece of a larger system for addressing hunger and health. It's the perfect example of a public-private partnership, leveraging the private sector, private dollars, federal dollars, and state dollars to implement the solution. With just a modest investment of $5 million, we could as much as triple the number of grocery stores we have participating in the program and serve that many more communities as well. As we gather today to discuss food insecurity across the state, we ask you to help us urge our legislature to make a state investment in the Double Up Oklahoma program. I'd now like to introduce Patti Neuhold-Ravikumar, president of the University of Central Oklahoma, to talk about the impact of hunger on college campuses.
Thank you, Chris. And I really appreciate so much of that data that you highlighted that it really brings to light how important and connected this issue is, that it touches every facet of our lives and it adds to the success of every single individual. I can't imagine the struggle that everybody who comes into our food banks experiences when it means the difference between whether you can take care of your family or whether you can feel well enough to go to work or whether you can finish an education that would help you get a job to keep you from relying on these services. It is something that if we could make a bigger contribution to, a bigger dent in this, that we could have an exponential impact that just would mean more than I think any of us could truly quantify at this point. But what I'll tell you is that we are absolutely dedicated to helping in this fight. And what Stacy mentioned earlier, that Oklahoma is has the fourth highest food insecurity rate in the country. And it's shocking. And for me, frankly, it's unacceptable, which is why I have chosen to be a part of the Regional Food Bank organization and the board, because I want to make as much of a difference as I can. And what I bring to the table is that we can't forget that this even touches people who are in college, people who are at career centers. This affects people who are pursuing post-secondary education. Don't be fooled by the fact that they're enrolled and that they're paying a bill here to think that they're totally fine at the dinner table, because we have a food bank on our campus that is tapped on a daily basis by our students, by our faculty, by our staff, by our contractors on campus. It is here for everyone. So we have to remember we have a responsibility to tackle this problem in a number of avenues. But since 2012, the Oklahoma food banks have partnered with more than 30 post-secondary sites, and we are one of those, to establish pantries. However, hunger still remains an issue in Oklahoma and across our nation. As president of the University of Central Oklahoma, I see firsthand the challenges that our students face. I know what that food bank looks like when we're full, and I know what it looks like when we're empty. And when we're empty, I know that there are empty hands around this campus, empty mouths, empty tables, empty family time. So we have to remember that this impacts so many more. And our student surveys tell us that more than half of our student population are impacted by some form of food insecurity at some point in their journey. Half, I've got 13,000 students here, just right here in this one little place. And so you take that number and you put it out in the proportion of our population, and it's startling. But meeting basic needs matters to educational quality. It's a message I really need us all to understand, because it affects student academic performance, right? It affects retention and completion rates. We've talked about that in our elementary schools. How much concentration can a child have if they're thinking that they haven't had breakfast, or they're waiting for that cheese sandwich at lunch because it's the only thing they're going to get that day? But barriers like food insecurity force learners to drop out. It stops the path to success. It stops the path to getting people out of these lines. And we know that when people graduate with a degree, with a diploma, that they are far more likely to earn money that will keep them from being part of relying on these social services as adults. But the bottom line is that food insecurity undermines Oklahoma's workforce and economic progress, right? It's not helping anyone to have these lines. The legislature has made progress in making colleges and universities more accessible for those who struggle to afford education, but we must make higher education not just accessible, but its completion attainable for Oklahomans. And we provide these wraparound services. This is now part of what it means to go to college. We are now a provider of wraparound services, along with the partnerships with our regional food bank. So we're doing more than we did 20 years ago. This was not a common occurrence on a college campus. And now here we are offering services that you'll find throughout our community, because this is where we find people. So we're reaching people where they are, but we know that we can do this. We know we can make an impact, and we can keep students in the classroom and fuel their minds when we fuel their bodies. So thank you for the opportunity to address you. And I'm proud to be in the trenches as a leader of a public institution. It's great to see our colleagues from the legislature here on the call. I know your time is extremely stretched and valuable right now. And just to see your faces giving this topic the time and attention today, it means so much to the 100 people on this call with you who fight this fight every day. So I'm proud and excited to introduce our final speaker and food security champion, State Representative Daniel Pay.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Great to be with everyone here virtually on this very important day. I do want to give a special shout out to Audra and Bailey over at the Regional Food Bank of Oklahoma. They, like me, are from Southwest Oklahoma. We've got many great people from this part of the state. When it comes to food insecurity, it was really my time at the University of Oklahoma that I first learned about the challenges that college students face on a daily basis when it comes to deciding between how to get food, how to pay for rent, tuition, and other basic necessities. And we partnered with the Regional Food Bank of Norman back in 2017, and we established the OU Food Pantry. And just last week, they celebrated the 5-year anniversary of this wonderful resource. It's grown tremendously. I think there are now 45 student volunteers. They serve thousands of students and staff on the Norman campus. And it's been really incredible to see the impact this has made, as well as other colleges like UCO have their own food pantries. That is why we work together on the Hunger Free Campus Act, this legislative session, to secure funding for a pilot program to take this type of initiative, whether it's establishing a food pantry, designating staff to raise awareness for existing resources to help students in need, taking that statewide and making sure we help as many Oklahomans as we possibly can. As the statistic has been pointed out, we are 4th in the country when it comes to our food insecurity rate. We need to do more to address that, to bring that to a more reasonable level. And so I'm really honored to continue working with the Regional Food Bank of Oklahoma, and trying to really address this problem head on. And I think there's tremendous support in the legislature, both in the House and the Senate for this type of approach. And so long as I continue serving in this position, I'll keep working diligently on common sense legislative ideas. So thank you so much for everyone who has joined this virtually, and let's keep fighting a good fight. Thank you.
Can't hear you.
I got that microphone trick. So thank you so much, Representative Pei, and all of the hard work that is going in with the legislators to bring all the necessary resources to the people of Oklahoma. It's amazing to hear from all of the different leaders and players that are really contributing. Bailey, when you hear all of that, like, what happens inside your heart?
I mean, it is an incredible thing to see folks from across the state come together on an issue so critical to our basic needs, and to hear it from the lens of the way that impacts seniors, the way that it impacts children, families working to make ends meet, and college students, as lifted by just by our speakers. And so we are grateful and excited, especially because Representative Daniel Pei and Senator Julia Kurt have also issued a resolution that's recognizing today as Anti-Hunger Day. And so we're grateful for them being champions of this work, and also being willing to lift that before the legislature about investing in food security this session.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing all of the hard work that goes into it with so many individuals, organizations, and yet there's still so much work to do.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's just amazing, but it's great to be part of a coalition of people who are collaborating and contributing in such significant ways. Now is our chance. Let me check with Audra. Audra, are we ready? Yes. Okay. So we are ready. It's a very exciting time where we're going to just send you into breakout rooms, and there will be legislators and moderators like we spoke of, and the rooms are timed for 30 minutes. So you'll have opportunity to share your questions and ask, get answers, have dialogue with other people. You know, one of the most important things you can do is also see who's in the room with you, because there could be other people that are advocating and that you could partner with in what you're attempting to do with just the community of folks who have showed up today. So you can ask questions, meet new people, let other people know what efforts you're making and how they can gather around you. And then in 30 minutes, we're going to bring you back here for 5 more minutes to wrap things up, and then send you out equipped for the work today. So Audra, send them on to a break room, please.